This documentary entry, it's the 25th of August 2025. The psychiatric terrorism is a term that I have come up with that's 100% accurate to the situation that I'm facing. With my medical identity stolen while the patient of a hospital, and then individuals misinforming the courts while using the medical records to file for funding through Health and Human Services by telling the courts I was a normal person. So, with my signature manipulated to sign all of these things, my home taken, insurance taken, and my medical identity with them using medical records, they made bank accounts in my name and has had all the funding all these years go to these bank accounts that other individuals made in my name while they were awarded guardianship position, conservative position. They told the courts that due to my medical vulnerability, I required protection, which is the truth. And it has been agreed upon by Congress, and that's why we have things like the Americans with Disability Act and Traumatic Brain Injury Act and the legislation attached. What Roger LeCompte, Lynn Howard, and Tim Donovan knew was that they could hide my medical information from probate court because I could speak like a medical anomaly with my skull puncturing injury paralyzing half the body. It wasn't supposed to be possible that I could speak, and I could. So they hid my medical info while I was a patient at St. Joe's Hospital. They wheeled me into probate court and instructed me to tell Honorable Judge Quigley that I could take care of myself. By doing that, they got the ruling that I was competent to be my own guardian. They then wheeled me back into St. Joe's Hospital and began the signing of documents with my signature ruled by the court as a normal person's. This is how they stole insurance settlements and stole my 3-bedroom home. And to this day, the bank accounts they made in my name using my social security number, they've had funding go to that is for that medical care that was never provided. They got the court to believe that I was being brought home and I was competent to make my own decisions, but the medical condition was so severe that I would require hospital care at home through Health and Human Services funding in the state of New Hampshire. So they got all of that arranged and all of that money sent. They stole every single penny of it and the property, and to this day continue taking my disability income, acquired brain disorder funding, all self-care services, interrupted. Every single bit of my life has been destroyed tactically by Roger LeCompte, Lynn Howard, and Tim Donovan. The handful of people that have helped them are in the checks that people had me sign in years I don't remember. Everyone just cashed in on the $2.5 million assault that was led by Roger, Lynn, and Tim, misusing the courts, and all the people that took money with them knew that they were all immune from criminal prosecution because they had permission from the state to do what they were doing. And so with today's documentary entry, it continues no matter what, because they got rulings with false information while the patient of a hospital in New Hampshire, and have since got additional rulings by manipulating the courts with medical fraud. They keep taking funding that Health and Human Services delegates to my name, and it's being taken through bank accounts in my name. And court rulings in New Hampshire saying they've got the right to do that, and that I don't have the right to access my accounts, and that New Hampshire attorneys have to have permission from these board of directors, board members of my trust account made by others. Insurance settlements awarded to me went to this trust account. Court rulings in place I'm not permitted access, or even ledgers of it. All of it tethered to other bank accounts receiving Health and Human Services funding being delegated in my name for my medical care. Every penny of it taken, in addition to the property, in addition to the terrorism of my children of emotional blackmailing, hence the request for public attention. Money's money. They've destroyed my life, but they're still terrorizing Tristan, misinforming Gabriel. Hannah died last February from this terrorist attack by Roger, Lynn, and Tim and the entourage of agency employees that keep assisting them with innocent ignorance when they know exactly what they're doing. But they pretend that they don't because they know the person that's under attack can't do anything about it. With the systematic violations arranged and human rights violations being tax funded, they don't stop attacking. The psychiatric terrorism is meant to get a reaction, and then if I would react, those that are helping others attack could play innocent ignorance and say, oh, poor guy, he needs more help. And then I could be forcefully locked away at Robin Hill Farm for my care, as they were planning to begin with. Or locked up again in jail because apparently I would be a threat to myself or others, because I would be requesting my human rights are respected and restored. But that's the design. They're going to keep attacking and terrorizing, trying to get me to react, because if I would react and act out, then they could, for the safety of me and others, according to my medical information. Nothing to do with the rulings they've already done. Missing that info. You know, it was missing that info while the patient was in the hospital, but let's continue disregarding that. And just attacking and taking because the state said we could. This is the entourage of Roger, Lynn, and Tim, and their handful of people that have been working with them for a decade, terrorizing me and Tristan. So tomorrow, I'm assuming already it will be the same talk and the same request of the public, the population that won't do anything about the people that are tax-funded and trusted, misusing the courts and attacking people that live in HUD properties. No one's going to do a thing about it, I assume. But I'll ask again tomorrow.